What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. Remember, before we get to those pitches, hit that subscribe button. Be a part of the biggest and best daily baseball show on YouTube. And now, without further ado, here are my Filthiest Pitches of the Day. I'm going to start with Chris Bassett, who had 4 Ks, giving up 2 earned runs in 6 1/3 innings. He had these very pretty slow curveballs, as well as his nasty sinker and elevated fastball. Here's an overlay of a sweeper and an elevated fastball, and you can see why you would get a chase on that fastball. You start your swing thinking you're getting another sweeper, but if you get that elevated fastball, you're swinging at air. Brandon Williamson had this changeup and had 3 Ks in 4 1/3 innings with 3 earned runs. He faced Jordan Montgomery, who had 4 Ks in 4 innings, giving up 4 runs, and had this changeup. Charlie Morton had 5 Ks in 6 innings. He did give up 6 runs, but had these 3,000 RPM knuckle curves and his 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Luis Ortiz had this combination of sliders and changeups and had 4 Ks in 7 2/3 innings, giving up only 2 earned runs on 5 hits. Ortiz looked very good. He faced Dane Dunning, who went 5 2/3 innings, giving up 1 run and had 3 Ks and had this slider. Edward Cabrera had 6 Ks in 6 innings. He had this 98-mile-an-hour fastball, as well as these changeups. This one was 93 miles an hour, and this one, while a ball, was 95.4 miles an hour on a changeup. He also threw in a few wicked curveballs. Some filthy stuff from Edward Cabrera. Tommy Henry had 5 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 2 earned runs, and had this curveball and changeup. He faced Zach Wheeler, who had 3 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had this dead zone slider and this other nasty slider. Michael Lorenzen had 5 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 5 earned runs, and had this changeup. And he faced Brady Singer, who was just not very good again, with 3 Ks in 3 2/3 innings, giving up 5 earned runs. He had this slider. His ERA on the season is now 7.48. Cristian Javier was dominant with 5 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 1 run, and had his elevated fastballs and sliders. And he outdueled Corbin Burns, who had this curveball for a sword and 96-mile-an-hour sinker at the knees. He had 5 Ks in 5 innings, but gave up 4 home runs. Ouch. Hunter Gaddis had a solid outing, going 6 scoreless innings with 2 hits and 4 Ks. He had this backdoor changeup, got a knee buckle on this curveball, and had a nasty little cutter. Jaime Barria was outstanding yesterday with 6 Ks in 6 innings, giving up only 2 hits and no runs. He really relied on these filthy changeups, getting whiffs over and over again. He faced Tanner Houck, who was absolutely filthy. Houck had 8 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 1 run. He had this ungodly 94-mile-an-hour sinker. Look at the drop and run on this thing. Just disgusting. And also had this filthy array of splitters, sliders, and fastballs, even getting a White Castle special here. And I love this splitter he throws to Ohtani, getting Ohtani to look absolutely terrible and totally fantastic with the helmet catch and calmly fixing his luscious hair.
His hair was perfect.
My man needs to be a Head and Shoulders spokesman. Of course, that swing nearly knocked his head off his shoulders. Here's an overlay of Houck's splitter and slider, and you can see how these things switch places on the way to the plate. So if you think you're swinging at one, but get the other, you're hosed. Houck was probably the filthiest starting pitcher of the day, but I'm gonna give the award to Luis Castillo, who got his 1,000th career strikeout in this game. Castillo had 8 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 4 hits. His fastballs were up to 99 miles an hour. He had this 98-mile-an-hour two-seamer with 19 inches of run, and got his 1,000th career K on this 98-mile-an-hour fastball. And I did this overlay so you can see the drop of his changeup compared to the comparative rise of his fastball. And you can see why when he tunnels those pitches, they're really tough to hit. That changeup totally disappears from the swing path. Now onto my filthiest relievers. Cutter Crawford had these overpowering fastballs. Cue the saxophone. Alexis Diaz had these nasty sliders. Sean Manaea had 8 Ks in relief thanks to his fastballs and two-seamers. Pierce Johnson had this hammer curveball. Chase Silseth had this fastball and slider. Trevor Stephan had this nasty slider splitter combo. Steven Okert K'd the side with these sliders. Tyler Rogers had this rising slider. Aroldis Chapman had this 103-mile-an-hour gas and K-stare. Cole Sands had this filthy 80-mile-an-hour curveball. Alex Lang, respect the turtleneck, had this 91-mile-an-hour changeup. Emmanuel Clase had these wicked sliders. Thomas Hatch had these ridiculous changeups. I mean, look at the spin on these. These are basically slombios, like a cross between a slider and a changeup. He releases it with a changeup grip, but the spin is pure slider. Gregory Santos. I keep wanting to say George Santos because I imagine somewhere in his career he was a hard-throwing relief pitcher before making it to Congress.
Let's go, Mets!
Had this 98-mile-an-hour front door sinker. Jordan Hicks had these two-seamers with up to 17 inches of run at that velo. Tristan Beck had this back foot slider, literally, look at that, adding injury to insult. The filthiest pitch from a reliever yesterday was this 101-mile-an-hour fastball with 16 inches of run from Colin Holderman. Just totally disgusting. And the filthiest outing from a reliever yesterday was this from Ryan Helsley, who absolutely obliterated the side. Just totally unfair stuff.
That's right, welcome back to Long Dong of the Week, where we bring a little bit of hitting to the Pitching Ninja Show. We're actually going to start off with the hump of the week, and that goes to Pete Alonso. Moving down to the Trop in Tampa, we got Dalton Varsho hammering this 446, and we're going to the Stingray tank. Oh, and it's over. An absolute nuke from Varsho. Now, the obligatory Ronald Acuna Long Dong of the Week. 6 weeks in a row, he's got a jack over 440. This one, 455, tied for the Long Dong of the Week. But because I'm frankly just sick of giving it to Acuna, I'm giving it to Jared Kelenic for his 455 blast here. Guy has unbelievable hair. I don't know if it's frosted tips or all natch, but he looks absolutely incredible, and so does his dong this week. And that's your dong of the week.
And now, the Pitching Ninja moment of Zen. Have you ever seen someone go first to third on a walk? Well, thanks to Ronald Acuna, you now have. That is some MVP hustle. What is up, everybody? My picks of the day today are a three-leg parlay. I'm going to start out with Kodai Senga for 6 Ks or more, then take Sonny Gray for 7 Ks or more, and top it off with Spencer Strider for 9 Ks or more. What would your picks of the day be?